stress hormone cortisol? I know, I've done the research. Welcome to the Happy Art Hour. I'm your host, Jessica Duthu, and today we're going to make these beautiful abstract prints using the Gelli printing process. Let's go. Today we're going to do some Gelli printmaking, or playful printmaking, in which you'll be using a silicone or Gelli plate to create some colorful prints. Here's an example of one print that I made. It's very organic and fun, using lots of different colors and shapes to create something that is very abstract and visually interesting. So before we get started, these are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need a Gelli plate. This is by Gelli Arts, but there's a lot of other different brands out there. You're also going to need a downloadable template that will help center your plate.
Okay.
And then also you're going to need some paint or ink. My favorite is acrylics. They make a really great consistency when applying to the plate, and then also have some really nice vibrant colors. You're also going to need some artist tape.
Where's the top plate?
And a brayer.
Mommy,
And then a couple pieces of cardstock. This is 50-pound cardstock, letter size. And then you can also use the cardstock to cut your very own shapes. So I created some just really funny abstract shapes. I have some more geometric lines here. Really, this is a fun time to play around with just different shapes that you're drawn to. You can also use a Cricut. There's some really great shapes out there in the universe that you can use your Cricut to cut. Also, if you go to any scrapbooking store, usually they'll have little cardstock shapes that you can use. Optional wise, you can use a lot of different materials to create texture. This is just a piece of bubble wrap. And then you can either use a comb, or this is Art Alternatives. They make these different texture tools that are really fun to play around with. Optional wise, you maybe want some baby wipes to clean your plate, or a paper towel. So we're going to go ahead and get started on setting up our plate. So the way you're going to do this is, I've already centered my template onto my table, and I used a piece of artist tape to go on all four corners. You're going to have 2 extra pieces of cardstock. In order to set up your own tabletop plate, I'm going to center a piece of cardstock over top of my template. And then I'm going to take my artist tape and I'm going to tear off a piece that is not as long as the length of your piece of paper. We're creating a hinge. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lay that piece of artist tape over the side, and you want like a swinging door for one side. Okay. Once I have that down, I'm going to use my second piece, centering it over cardstock on the table, and you can always see the edges here too. That helps you line it up. Again, taking a piece of tape that is not as long as the length, and I'm just going to tape that over top. So now you have some swinging barn doors for your printmaking. One side is going to be your print, and the other side is what's going to be called a ghost print, just to kind of clean off your plate. And sometimes you can create some really interesting artwork on your ghost print. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Gelli plate. It's really good to keep these containers for storage, so I never throw them away. I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. So traditionally when you get a silicone plate, you're going to have a piece of plastic on each side. I'm just going to go ahead and take those off. and lay them to the side because you're going to want to put them back on. All right, so I'm going to take my jelly plate. I'm going to center it over my template here. Okay. And now I'm going to choose my colors. So I'm going to go with kind of this yellow, Indian yellow hue, ultramarine blue, and sap green hue. Again, there's a lot of different really beautiful colors out there. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding some ink to my plate. Okay. You only need about a large chocolate chip size amount, and you want to kind of wipe at the end and then replace your cap just to make sure that your ink stays nice. I'm going to take my brayer here and I'm going to cover my plate kind of in back and forth, side to side motions. You want to have a nice even layer. If you feel like the ink layer is a little too thin, then you can definitely add more ink. This looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to start by adding some of my fun shapes. Okay, maybe I'll do a line here. Maybe that there. So this is really where you can come in and start to play with different compositions. Oops. Okay. We'll start there. Okay, so now to print my first run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this left-hand side of my cardstock, I'm going to lay it over top using that hinge, and then I'm going to use the back of my hand and create even pressure throughout my whole print. If you have a clean brayer, you can also use that to use even pressure too, but I kind of like to use my hand. Okay, once I have everything evenly pressed down, I'm going to go ahead and pull up, and there I have my first run of print. Okay. So when you're printing your ghost print, it's really up to you as to what you want to do with this stage. You could keep these shapes on if you wish. I'm going to go ahead and take them off, and you'll see that the ink has kind of settled around the outline of each shape, which is really interesting. So, these also make really great scrapbooking or collage pieces, so I like to keep mine. I'm going to go ahead and use the hinge on my right side. Same process as the left, using the back of my hand. Okay, and then I'm going to peel this up. Now, as you notice, it's a lot lighter over here, but there's some really interesting things happening with the ink. So you don't need to clean before the next step. Unless you have a lot of ink on your plate still, you shouldn't, but if you want to, you can always use a nice baby wipe or paper towel to wipe it down. You can use your paper towel to overlay onto your plate to clean your brayer. So I'm just going to take my brayer, move it up and down. As you can see, some of the ink is depositing. This also cleans your brayer and your plate at the same time. Side. Now I'm going to go ahead in with my blue. Again, chocolate chip amount. Do a little wipe. Tap back on. Then I'm going to take my brayer. Again, going back and forth. This is kind of interesting. I like what it's doing here. Just adding some texture, so you could kind of print that way if you wanted to. Might add a little bit more because it's looking a little, ooh, lost my cap. You know, I think I'm going to kind of keep this texture here. So what I'm going to do is instead of going in with another shape, I'm going to take a texture tool. I'm just going to scrape some of the paint off. Maybe I'll come in with my bubble wrap, kind of press down, which will pull up some of that pigment. Kind of see it there, yeah. Cool. And then I might maybe just put a little shape on the end. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and print my left side. If your paper does do that, you can just realign it up again. Use the back of my hand. Nice even pressure across. It's really humid here in Savannah, Georgia, so tape does not want to behave. Up, down, and slowly pull up. Okay, ooh, some really interesting things here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take my shape off and go ahead and print my ghost print process. Put that up. Yeah, so some of the ink that stayed from that one, deposit on that, which is really interesting. I'm actually liking the ghost a lot. Okay, same idea. Put your paper towel down. Go ahead and roll your brayer over top. And the paper towel doesn't want to behave because of humidity. And I'm going to go ahead and do my last color. So it's really up to you about how many colors you'd like to use. I like to do 3 because I feel like sometimes if you do too many, it starts to get really muddy. But again, this is a chance for you to play around, experiment. If something doesn't work this first print, you can go ahead and try something different next time. So I'm going to change. I was going to do green, but I'm noticing because of the mixing here, there's already some beautiful greens happening. So I'm going to go ahead and use this crimson hue. I'll go ahead and do a little chocolate chip size. Put my cap on. Then use my brayer. All right, so because it's pretty busy in here, I think what I want to do is use some bigger shapes. So I'm gonna grab this half little archy guy here. You can also overlay shapes too if you wish. All right, go ahead. Left side. There's some like fun, very translucent layers happening in that guy. And I really like how that crimson hue mixed with some of the colors that were already on and it turned into this like rusty orange. Okay, I'm gonna take my shapes off now. Go ahead and print my ghost. They're very different. I love the difference in color and tone here. This one actually has some really interesting line work in it because of the way that that ghost print printed. There you go. So when you're finished, go ahead and just take your tape off. And there you go. So to clean up, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my plate. But if you're in a groove, want to do more than just one row of printing, you have everything you need to set up here. I'll clean my plate and then you can just attach 2 other pieces of cardstock here and start all over again. So in order to clean my plate, let me move my prints here. I'm gonna go ahead and do what I've been doing, laying my paper towel down. Cleaning my brayer at the same time. Okay, and now I'm gonna take one of my baby wipes. And go ahead and just wipe down my plate. There's still some ink left over. Give my brayer a nice little scrub. All right. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed this session of the Happy Art Hour. Remember, play as much as you can. Try not to control the outcome because you never know what kind of magic will happen. Enjoy and happy creating.